Some places feel like they were built just to be stared at. But then there's Canada, a country so beautiful, so absurdly vast, that it makes you question whether the planet was saving its best work for last. It's not just pretty postcards and polite people, it's an entire mood, a snow-dusted, maple syrup-scented, polar bear roaming, culture-mixing mood that pulls you in and refuses to let go. It starts with the land itself, because let's be honest, Canada doesn't do subtle. Picture mountains that stab the sky like nature's skyscrapers. Pine forests that stretch so far, you'd swear they loop back around the planet. Lakes so turquoise, you'll wonder if someone photoshopped them in real life. And in winter, the whole country transforms into something out of a storybook. Snowflakes drift down like nature's confetti. Lakes freeze into shimmering mirrors. And cities trade their rush-hour chaos for cozy fires and steaming cups of cocoa. It's the kind of place where you want to slow down, not because you're tired, but because every second feels worth noticing. And yet, Canada isn't just wilderness and scenery. It's also home to some of the most welcoming people on Earth, the kind who'll hold the door for you, offer directions, and apologize for the weather they definitely didn't cause. It's a cultural patchwork stitched together by countless languages, cuisines, and traditions. You can sip a perfect cappuccino on a cobblestone street in Quebec, hear the soft melody of French drifting through the air, then catch a hockey game that feels more like a national holiday than a sport. It's a country that celebrates difference without fuss, where every region has its own story, but they all hum the same tune of kindness and curiosity. But let's be real, if you're coming here for the first time, you're probably chasing nature. And oh, does Canada deliver? Take Banff National Park, for example, the OG of Canadian wilderness. It's like someone took every jaw-dropping landscape cliché and crammed them into one place. Turquoise lakes that shimmer like gemstones, alpine meadows bursting with wildflowers, and jagged peaks that make you feel wonderfully insignificant. Lake Louise, with its glassy blue surface and dramatic glacier backdrop, is so beautiful, it should come with a warning label. May cause uncontrollable need to quit your job and move here. A short drive away, Moraine Lake turns up the volume with water so blue-green it looks fake, until you realize it's all glacier-fed perfection. Banff doesn't feel like a town someone built. It feels like it just grew there naturally, like the mountains themselves decided, yeah, let's put a cozy little village right here. Everywhere you turn, there's something that makes you want to stay just a little longer. Wooden lodges peek out from behind snow-dusted pines, each one practically begging you to curl up by a fireplace with a mug of hot chocolate. Art galleries line the streets, but they don't feel pretentious. They're more like love letters to the wilderness. Paintings that capture the way the light hits a frozen lake at sunrise, or how a grizzly's fur glows gold in the afternoon sun. And those hot springs? They're basically nature's version of a five-star spa. There's nothing quite like sinking into that steamy water while mountains tower all around you. It's the definition of main character energy. And just when you're convinced you've seen everything Banff has to offer, nature decides to remind you who's really in charge. Maybe it's a herd of elk casually crossing the street like they've got dinner reservations. Maybe it's a mountain goat perched on a cliff, giving you the kind of judgmental stare only goats can pull off. Around here, wildlife isn't an occasional photo op. It's part of the neighborhood. Honestly, the humans feel more like the guests. But if Banff is the polished jewel, the place that makes you feel like you've stepped straight into a travel magazine, then Jasper is its wild, untamed sibling. Jasper doesn't try to impress you. It doesn't need to. The second you roll into town, the wilderness takes over. Elk don't just live near the park. They own the streets, sauntering down main roads like they're heading to brunch. Bears wander the back roads, with zero regard for your carefully planned itinerary, and bighorn sheep strike poses on rocky ledges like they're auditioning for a nature documentary. It's chaotic in the best possible way, the kind of place where you stop reaching for your camera because you'd be taking photos every 5 minutes. And then there's Spirit Island, tucked away in the middle of Moraine Lake, a place so surreal it almost feels made up. The water is impossibly blue, the mountains rise around it like cathedral walls, and the island itself is tiny, almost fragile, but impossibly beautiful. Photographers cross oceans just to capture this one view. And when you're standing there in silence, watching the reflections ripple on the lake's surface, you get why. But Jasper's biggest magic trick happens after sunset. When the sun dips behind the peaks and the last bits of daylight fade, the sky turns into something that doesn't look real. It's one of the best places on Earth for stargazing, and once you're there, you understand why. The darkness is so deep, the air so clear, that the Milky Way doesn't just appear, it erupts across the sky, a glittering river of light stretching from one horizon to the other. It's the kind of night sky that makes you go quiet without even realizing it, the kind that reminds you how small you are and how vast the universe really is. Banff feels like a dream you don't want to wake up from. Jasper feels like the wilderness grabbed you by the hand and said, "Come on, let me show you how wild the world can be." And together, they're the perfect duo. One polished and picture-perfect, the other raw and untamed, both unforgettable. Then there's Whistler, Canada's answer to the question, what if adventure had a zip code? In winter, it's a snow-covered playground where skiers carve through powder and snowboarders chase gravity down endless slopes, the peak to peak. Gondola floats above it all, serving up views that make your stomach flip in the best way. And when the snow melts, the action doesn't stop. Mountain bikers rip down forest trails, hikers wander past hidden waterfalls, and paddleboarders glide across glassy lakes framed by alpine peaks. Whistler Village hums with energy. Cobblestone streets lined with cafes, fire pits glowing under the stars, and an atmosphere that's equal parts cozy and electric. Of course, not all of Canada's natural wonders are tucked away in the mountains. Niagara Falls is proof that sometimes nature likes to show off. You'll hear it before you see it, a deep, endless roar that builds as you approach. And then it appears, a thundering wall of water plunging into the abyss below. It's hypnotic, raw, and a little humbling. Standing there, soaked in mist, you feel like you're witnessing the planet exhale. By night, the falls transform into a kaleidoscope of color, glowing under spotlights and fireworks as if celebrating their own power. But nature is only half the story. Canada's cities are where the country's soul takes shape, and they're just as memorable as the landscapes. Toronto, for instance, isn't just a city, it's a world map in motion. From the top of the CN Tower, the skyline stretches into infinity. But down on the ground, the magic is in the details. One neighborhood smells like Jamaican patties, another buzzes with Korean barbecue, and a third serves up Italian espresso that would make Rome jealous. Kensington Market hums with bohemian charm, Chinatown bursts with energy, and the Distillery District mixes history and modernity with effortless style. And through it all, Toronto remains grounded, a place where skyscrapers and street art, food trucks and fine dining all coexist in easy harmony. Vancouver, on the other hand, feels like nature and city made a bet to see who could outdo the other, and both won. Here, you can ski down a mountain in the morning and kayak across the harbour by afternoon. Downtown hums with glass towers and global cuisine, but a short stroll leads you into Stanley Park, a forested oasis where bald eagles wheel overhead and seawalls curve around glittering water. Locals don't just live in Vancouver, they live outside it, hiking Grouse Mountain, biking along oceanfront trails, and embracing the rain like it's part of the lifestyle. It's a city that doesn't need to brag. Its beauty does all the talking. Then there's Montreal, a city that dances to its own rhythm. It's a love letter to culture and contradiction, where centuries-old stone streets meet bold murals and street art. In Old Montreal, horse-drawn carriages clatter past cathedrals and cobblestones, while neighborhoods like Plateau and Mile End pulse with indie music, art collectives, and cafes that feel like living rooms. The food? Equal parts tradition and rebellion. Smoked meat sandwiches, bagels with cult followings, and fine dining that fuses French technique with global imagination. And when festival season hits, the whole city feels like a celebration. Jazz echoing down the streets, comedy shows filling theaters, and winter markets lighting up snowy nights. Quebec City, meanwhile, is like stepping into a European storybook without the jet lag. Its fortified walls, slate rooftops, and winding alleys feel plucked from another century. Chateau Frontenac watches over it all like a fairy tale castle, while narrow lanes overflow with boutiques, bakeries, and artists painting scenes as they unfold. In winter, snow turns it into a glowing postcard, and beneath all that charm is a fierce cultural pride. French isn't just spoken here, it's lived, woven into every sign, song, and smile. Even the capital, Ottawa, has its own quiet charisma. It's a city that doesn't shout, It balances. Gothic spires rise over the Ottawa River, guards march in precise formation on Parliament Hill, and the Rideau Canal transforms with the seasons. A serene kayaking route in summer, the world's largest skating rink in winter. Museums and galleries trace the country's story, while festivals like Winterlude turn icy days into joyful celebrations. It's a place where history feels alive, and the pace invites you to breathe. Beyond the cities, Canada's provinces each tell their own story. Alberta is a land of contrasts, where towering Rockies give way to golden prairies, and ancient badlands hide dinosaur bones beneath the soil. Ontario stretches from buzzing metropolises to vast northern forests dotted with hidden lakes and sacred Indigenous sites. Yoho National Park offers quieter, more intimate landscapes, waterfalls that thunder into emerald pools, fossil beds that whisper stories from 500 million years ago. Algonquin Provincial Park is a canoeist's dream, where misty mornings bring loon calls and starlit nights echo with wolf howls. And out east, Halifax embraces the ocean with weathered charm, its boardwalks alive with sea shanties, its lighthouses perched against dramatic coastlines, its history steeped in shipwrecks and resilience. But what makes Canada unforgettable isn't just what you see, it's how it makes you feel. There's something grounding about standing beneath the northern lights as they ripple across a silent sky. Something humbling about watching glaciers carve valleys over millennia. Something strangely comforting about sipping coffee in a city cafe while snow falls softly outside. It's a place that reminds you how vast the world is, and how small, yet connected, you are within it. Canada doesn't demand your attention, it earns it. It doesn't rush to impress you, it invites you to slow down, to listen, to look closer. And when you leave, you don't just carry photos and souvenirs, you carry a piece of that stillness, that wonder, that sense of belonging. So if you've ever dreamed of a place that feels like a masterpiece painted by nature, framed by culture, and filled with heart, you already know where to look. And when you finally get here, trust me, you'll understand why nobody ever really says goodbye to Canada. They just start planning their next visit. If you enjoyed this journey, hit that like button, share it with someone who's overdue for an adventure, and drop a comment telling me where in Canada you'd go first. Your next great story might just start here.